the environment that she's in. Usually if she's in a lower socioeconomic environment, she's probably gonna lean towards sex because people who are in poverty, let's just say, everything is short term. Like, how can I get this right now? So she's gonna use her sexuality because it's gonna be short term. She's gonna get that benefit right now, and when you're in that situation, you need it right now. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Marvel of a Matter, back with another video, and today what I'm gonna talk about is the natural baddie and the artificial baddie. What's the difference, right? So my last video, I talked about the beautiful woman and the artificial baddie. That's essentially what I was talking about. And then I brought up a natural baddie. So a natural baddie is also going to be in the baddie category, but she's different than the artificial baddie. Her goals are different, right? What she's looking for is different. Now, the natural baddie is going to start off as a beautiful girl. She's a beautiful girl. She's natural. Her genetics are just really good. People are seeing her and they're in awe of her. And, all the things that I talked about, a beautiful woman, she may have those in her younger years. But something happens. At some point, she realizes, okay, I have something that these guys want. And I have things that I want. And these guys can give me the things that I want. So I'm going to use what I have that they want to get what I want from them. That's essentially what it is. I don't know if it's a conscious thought. Maybe sometimes it is. Maybe sometimes it's unconscious. But this is essentially the mentality. And so what they end up doing is, I talked about how some beautiful girls will, shy away from it and become really modest. Some will be neutral and be like, okay, I understand what it is. I'm beautiful, but it doesn't matter. I'm still me, and they'll continue to be themselves and they'll just get attention because they're beautiful. But then there's some girls who will lean into it, like I said, and these are these natural baddies, right? So once they, fill in, they have puberty and they realize, okay, I have all this power, they'll start dressing a certain way. They'll start, behaving a certain way. They won't be as overtly sexual as the artificial baddies because their goal is different. Like I said, the artificial baddie's mentality, on her deep-rooted insecurity, is that I'm not adequate enough. So I need to show off everything that I have so that I can get the validation to make me feel like I'm adequate enough. That's basically her mentality and her driving force. The natural baddie, that's not what's going on. She knows that she looks good. She's fully aware of it. She knows that she's done nothing to look good, but she looks good. Okay, now she thinks, let me enhance this so that I can use this power, right? Hers is more of a power thing. It's more of a predatory, really, is a good word for it. It's more of a predator. Like, okay, I'm going to use this to trap you here, to get this from you. They might not even really have sex with guys like that as much, but they're going to flaunt their sexuality. They know that there's power in their sexuality. So they're going to get what they can from you by showing their using that short-term attention that I talked about in the last video. They're going to use the short-term attention to get what they want in the short term, but their need is not validation. So they can switch over once they find a person that they want, once they find what they need, you know what I'm saying? They can switch over. If they can, settle down with somebody who really got it, they can switch over and be like, okay, well, I don't need the attention. I just wanted this. This is what I wanted. But they use their sexuality to get there. A beautiful woman may still use her looks, but it's going to be much more subtle. It's going to be much more like, okay, I'm going to put myself in this environment and, oh, wow, I'm around all these rich people. I'm just here having conversation, being polite, doing all this stuff, classy, graceful, elegant, all these things. But knowing that, okay, these men are going to want me, right? Whereas a natural baddie, she's not going to be in those same environments. She's going to be in a different environment, a more, I don't want to say low class, but the shadow side of the upper class, right? She's going to be around the wealthy, street guys. She's gonna be around the wealthy gangsters, the wealthy, all these type of guys. She'll be around them, but she's gonna move with sexuality. Her leading weapon is gonna be, it's not gonna be grace and poise and all this type of stuff. It's gonna be sexuality, and she knows she's gonna use that short-term attention to get what she wants from each of these guys, from each of these individual guys. So the artificial baddie, like I said, is different than that. She's not doing that. She needs to have that attention. She needs to have that attention. She's on Instagram going crazy. Baddie's gonna, do whatever she can to get that attention, because that's her driving force. There's a deep-rooted insecurity. So that's pretty much the big difference between the natural baddie and the artificial baddie. Now, the natural baddie's probably gonna have a very sexual body as well, right? And that might be part of the difference between the beautiful woman and the natural baddie, is that the natural baddie just has a more voluptuous, or whatever it is, overtly sexual body, just naturally. And so that might lean her into being more sexual and leading with that, because this is how guys might be approaching her. So a lot of women, like, they just kind of learn how guys approach them is kind of how they deal with guys. That's the same thing with guys. Like, how women deal with them is kind of how they deal with women, and we're just kind of mirroring each other and learning from each other. And then unless somebody else tells you, no, this is how you're supposed to be, this is how you're supposed to move to be successful, you kind of just end up copying each other. That's just, a lot of human interactions are like that. Unless you know what to do, you're just kind of following the people that you're interacting with. So guys would be doing things that girls do for them, and girls would try to be doing things that guys do for them, and they're just learning from each other. Like, oh, okay, this person didn't text me, well, I'm not going to text them, and that's kind of how we learn to do these things. But that overtly sexual body may have something to do with how a woman learns to respond to men, and that might make a woman veer towards natural baddie as opposed to a beautiful woman. Her upbringing, how the people in her family treat her, how the environment that she's in. Usually if she's in a lower socioeconomic environment, she's probably gonna lean towards sex, because people who are in poverty, let's just say, everything is short term. Like, how can I get this right now? So she's gonna use her sexuality because it's gonna be short term. She's gonna get that benefit right now, and when you're in that situation, you need it right now, right? So that might have an effect. Our culture right now, TikTok and all this type of stuff, is gonna create way more natural baddies, because it's cool and put on a pedestal to be super sexual and super sexy. So it's like, because of that, a lot of these young girls who might have even been more modest and more shy away from it are gonna be enticed to be more overtly sexual, because that's what's praised. That's what's praised. Teenagers want praise, and now they're gonna see other girls who are beautiful doing the same things, right? Before social media and all that, right, you didn't really see that as often. You saw celebrities, but it's not like, oh, so many people are doing this, oh, this is actually normal, right? It's like, no, most girls around you are not that beautiful, so there's nobody around you to really relate to. So it's like you're kind of like isolated as a beautiful woman. But online, on Instagram, on TikTok, there's a lot of beautiful women. So if you get to see, like, oh, okay, this is how I'm supposed to deal with it. And what you're going to see most often is, because they're the attention-seeking type, is that they're going to be doing something sexual, right? They're going to be doing something sexual. So a younger, beautiful woman, a beautiful girl, whatever, is going to see, her peers doing things that are sexual, her peers that may be a little bit older, whatever, and that's going to lead her down that path, because she's going to be like, oh, well, I look like them, and this is what they're doing, so, okay, right? So these are like the different reasons or pathways that could lead to, a young, beautiful girl turning into a natural baddie. I explained the artificial baddie in the last one, right? She's not getting the attention as a teenager, as a young woman, maybe even a 25-year-old woman, 26-year-old woman. So what she does, she's tired of not getting the attention. She sees all the women around her online getting attention for being sexual and having these bodies and having this thing, and it gets into her mind, whether she's a teenager or whether she's an adult, and she thinks, okay, I need to do these things so I can get this attention because I don't feel good enough. And it's kind of a byproduct of our culture, because it's like we praise things that are extreme, right? So bodies that are extreme, they get more attention. Of course, little girls are gonna want attention. Women are gonna want attention, right? They're gonna want to feel like they're good enough, they're adequate, so they're gonna do these things to feel that way, right? And unless they had the upbringing to teach them, be cool with yourself regardless, which a lot of people didn't, they're gonna fall into this. And this is why you see the BBL trend, going crazy. I think Ozempic is the thing now, because it's turning into the new, it's going back, and that's gonna be the new look, the back to the skinny, I guess. But yeah, so these are the differences between the natural baddie and the artificial baddie. The main thing is that the drive is different. The natural baddie is using her power of sexuality to get what she wants from men. The artificial baddie is using her sexuality to get validation that she's good enough from men. And those are the key differences, right, between the natural baddie and the artificial baddie. All right, so that's the video for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Drop some more topics in the comment section. I got my coaching calls in the description box. And you know what it is. It's mind over matter, marvel over matter. Let's get it.